What's up, everyone? Ooh, goodness. Ready? And what's up, everyone? This is Devin, and we're back as Moto 1s have completed at day 3 of Loretta Lynn's. And so we're going to kind of run through how Moto 1 went for all these classes. See who's on top, see maybe who I was way off on who I didn't even, mention at all in some of these classes, because I know I had a few that who won and stuff was not even close to who where everyone finished and stuff like that. So we'll jump right in. We'll start off with 250B. This was a big class with Hayden Deegan in it, Evan Ferry, Dax Bennick, Maddie Jorgensen. There's just a lot of names in this class. A lot of names that are going to be pros here and pretty soon. And so, watching this class, you see early in this race, Evan Ferry had a little issue, a little tip over in a corner, while as Hayden Deegan was trying to get around him, kind of tips over. Then you see Hayden pull off, looking at the rear tire. Here, come to find out, Evan's peg got into Hayden's rear tire and just ripped out a bunch of spokes. So it caused it. So he couldn't finish the race. So be watching for some vengeance coming back out of him. I'm coming the rest of the race. This kind of takes him out of the overall contention, but be interesting to see how the rest of this time go. Maddie Jorgensen got first. He, was able to lead by lap 1 and held it the whole time. Preston and got second. He was fourth after lap 1, worked his way up to second. Evan Ferry, because of the little tip over, I think he pulled the actual whole shot, and then tip over, put him back in like 7th after lap 1. He might have been a little further back than that even, and at one point, but he crossed the first lap line in 7th, worked his way up to 3rd. Dax Bennick got 10th after lap 1, but he managed to work his way up to 4th. And then Dayton Briggs, he started off, finished the first lap in 2nd, slowly dropped back to 5th by lap 3 and just held on in 5th the rest of the race. Casey Bernard got 6th. He started off 8th, dropped back just a little bit, worked his way back up. Marcelo got 7th. Tevin Nelson got 8th. Lane Allison got 9th. Started off in 5th at the first lap. Dropped back slowly about mid-race and then held on to 9th to finish up. And then Lux Turner got 10th. So one of these guys will probably get knocked out next race with Hayden in there. So I'll kind of look for that. That will change things up. And then if anyone else goes down, that's the crazy thing about Loretta's in a 3-moto format. That is, all it takes is one little bike issue like that from someone else, and it's completely changing the overall. So you got to be consistent all week long. We'll jump over into 250B Limited. First place went to Enzo Temmerman. He started off 3rd at the first lap. That was able to, about mid-race, get up into 2nd and then pass into 1st. Blake Gardner got 2nd. He was in 1st for about half the race and then dropped back once Enzo got around him. Brock Walker got 3rd overall. Was 2nd after lap 1 and then eventually got passed. That's for 3rd. Crockett Myers got 4th. He was back in 14th after lap 1 and managed to work his way up into 4th. Slade Barla got 5th. Jordan Byes got 6th. Tevin Nelson got 7th. Drew Adams, he was one name that I kind of thought would have done a little bit better. I don't know what gate pick he would have got. With these faster classes, is that gate pick's a lot more important, and they do the clothespin, chip draw. So it makes it a little bit sometimes harder. You're not going to get the best start, but looks like Drew came around the first lap in 7th, but then must have went down because he was back in 18th and then worked his way back up to 8th. So I could see him more battling up in the top 5 there. Jace Allred got 9th. He has another one that started back in 22nd, so it's impressive to see him work all the way up inside the top 10. And then to round out the top 10, Nicholas Israel. Oh, and he kind of started at 11th and went back and forth, back to 13th, and then worked back up to 10th by the end of the race. Jumping over, we'll just kind of keep going down the list here of classes on the website for MX Sports. With the lap times, we going into 250C. We got first place went to Bly, I believe is how you say his name, Duza. First off to first lap and first all the way through the moto. Dawson Cobb started off in 29th and worked his all the way up into second. So Dawson ran the fastest lap. He's quite a bit faster. Looks like time over everyone else. So it would be interesting to see if he can get a better start, how he'll do, if he can get up there and battle for first place. Justin Burge got 3rd. Brandon Harden, 4th. Micah Grubbs, another rider that started way back. He was 21st after lap 1 and managed to work his way all the way up to 5th. 6th go to Kawan Matillo. 12th up to 6th. Walker McGreal finished in 7th. 8th goes to Axel Paulson. 9th goes to Marshall Bussey. And then 10th for the top 10, Robert Schuster. That is your top 10 for 250C. I think for 250C, I don't really have any of these kids. Let's take a look. Oh, I guess Dawson Cobb was kind of one guy I had mentioned. Let's see if there's anyone else that I can quick see. McGreal Walker, I got 7th. He's kind of a kid I expect to be up there. Axel Paulson, I kind of expected up there. So the Bly, though, that did win it, he shocked me, even though he did get 2nd at his regional. We'll jump over now, next class, 250C Limited. And we're looking at Ashton Aruda got 1st. Sage Powers got 2nd. And it looked like they kind of battled a little bit. Sage had the early lead, got past, and couldn't get back around Ashton. 3rd goes to Corey Altazin. He was in 3rd after the lap 1 and held 3rd the rest of the time. Kid that made a hard charge, Ryder Bell, got 4th. Went from 27th all the way up to 4th, so that's pretty impressive. 5th goes to Spencer Burley. He was 8th after lap 1, worked up to 4th, and then got past there towards the end of the race. Adrian Mayo got 6th. Landon Babcock, 7th. Brandon Lynch went from 17th to 8th. Deegan Gale from 16th to 9th. And Cade Fury got 10th. I don't really remember any names off my pre-list looking at. Couple in there, like 3rd place to Corey Altazin, Ryder Bell, Spencer Burley. These are all kids that I kind of was watching because they won their regionals. So, could continue to watch them the rest of the week. 250C Juniors 12 to 17 Limited. For this class, we have Ryder Bell taking 1st place. Was able to hold on to 1st from lap 1 to the finish. And then 2nd place goes to Jack Carriage. managed to go from 6th up to 2nd. Had to make a few passes. Zach Longino got 3rd. Deegan Gale, 4th. Jaden Sleggers got 5th. Corey Altazin got 6th. Ashton Arada, 7th. He had to work for that. He was back in 15th after lap 1, so it's good to work up. 8th goes to Taylor McKenzie. 9th goes to Elijah Davis, and he had to work from a 20th all the way up to 9th, so quite a few passes made there. And then rounding out the top 10 in the 250C junior is Jack Parkin. Keep moving on. Next on the list is 450B. I believe today they even got their second moto in, but we'll stick to first motos on this video. Well, first place goes to Dayton Briggs. He was in second for the first little bit. Managed to work up by lap 5 into first. Second place goes to Avery Long. Avery had his work cut out, was in 22nd after lap 1. Managed to work his way all up to second. Mitchell Zaraba got 3rd. Jordan Byes got 4th. Jordan was leading it for a little bit and kind of looks like toward the end of the race fell back. Marcelo Loretta, I might even say his last name. 5th place for Marcelo. He was 16th after lap 1, so it's good work for him. Dakota Bender finished 6th. Kyle Epperson got 7th. Grant Hoffman got 8th, and that's impressive after he was 25th after lap 1. 9th goes to Hayden Justice. And Brady D. Young rounds out the top 10 for the 450B class. 450B Limited. First place goes to Avery Long. He was in second, battling with Crockett Myers, who ended up taking second. Enzo Temmerman got 3rd. Mitchell got 4th. Cameron Horner got 5th. Drew Adams finished 6th. Blake Gardner got 7th. Jaden Cooper. Jadon Cooper got 8th. Kobe Carper got 9th. Slade Varlaw got 10th. And that's pretty impressive. Finishing 10th after he's 21st after lap 1. So, fastest lap, Avery Long set at 1:55 in this class. 1:55.42. And going on, 450C class. Lance Guys got 1st. Chance Hayward got 2nd. Kwan got 3rd. Josh Ticknor got 4th. Justin Burge got 5th. Axel Paulson got 6th. Walker McGrail, 7th. Chase Patton, 8th. He managed to work up from 19th. That's kind of been one of the biggest moves in the top 10. And who had to battle the most? Bly finished 9th. Blake Broderick finished 10th. That is the 450C. Going over to 125C. Dawson Cobb. He's one of the really fast C riders from what I can gather from these regional finishes and then into the Loretta's here. He's first place, managed to lead it the whole way. Caden Gonzalez got 2nd. Alex Neff got 3rd. Riley Grenner got 4th. William Jordan finished 5th. Spencer Burley finishes 6th. Micah Grubbs finishes 7th, and that's from a 15th place. And he was even still in 15th place after lap 2 and managed to make passes to get up into 7th. Just took a little bit for him to apparently get going. AJ Greenwell finished 8th. Carson Manquest finished 9th. And then Seth Crady finishes 10th. Managed to work up from 19th to 10th. Going into the 125 junior, that's 12 to 17 BC class. Logan Best finished 1st. Casey Cochran 2nd. I know Casey's a name that I kind of remember in my preview. A kid to watch out for. Logan Best is a returning kid to this class. He finished in the top 10 last year. Looks like 6th place, so he's definitely going to be a force. They were close in lap times, basically 0.100th, less than 0.100th of a second. So be impressive to watch these kids battle it out again in the Moto 2. Landon Peppard finished his 3rd. That's working up from 16th. And Casey, worked up to 2nd from 23rd. So both those kids had some work to do. Luke Fazier finishes 4th. Noah Stevens finishes 5th. Clark Robbins finishes 6th. Colin Allen finishes 7th. Dylan finishes 8th. Diesel Thomas finishes 9th. That's from a 15th place after lap 1. Tyler Mullet finishes 10th. Jumping into the age group classes, this is going to be the schoolboy, so this is still kind of basically like the 125 junior. That's still a 12 to 17 125cc engine bikes, but it's just called Schoolboy 1 BC. Noah Stevens takes first place in this. Logan Best again is a returner to this class, looks like. So he is 2nd in this race. He was, tried to battle, got it down to less than a second, and then just kind of couldn't make the pass, and then couldn't close back in. Casey Cochran got a little bit better of a start. He finishes at lap 1 in 6th, and then managed to work his way up to 3rd. Didn't have to come from way back like in the 125 junior. Clark Robbins finishes 4th. Thor Powell finishes 5th. Dylan Bleacha 6th. Logan Lasser finishes 7th. Jeremiah or JJ Wilby finishes 8th. Tyler Millette 9th. And Landon Hartz makes his way from 21st to 10th to round out the top 10 for Schoolboy 1. All right, Schoolboy 2 is another big class everyone's been watching this year because of the stacked field that's in it. And with having a DNF in his first moto of the weekend, going into this class, Hayden Deegan starts off 2nd after lap 1, even gets passed by Daxon after lap 2, but then manages to make passes on both Preston and Dax to get into first, running a 156 today and taking first place in Schoolboy 2. Dax Bennick finishes 2nd. Mark Phineas managed to work his way up into 3rd. Preston, after leading the first couple laps, dropped back to 4th. Julian Bomer finishes 5th. Trevor Copland finishes 6th. Casey Bernard Jr. finishes 7th. Lux Turner finishes 8th. Evan Ferry is kind of a shocker to me in this one. Only finishing lap 1 in 12th and then working his way back up to 9th to finish the race. He was up to 8th at one point. Jackson Driscoll finishes out the top 10. And that was your Schoolboy 2. Another stat class that everyone pays attention to because more than likely these kids finish out the rest of the year a lot of times at the Nationals with the pro riders and that's your Open Pro Sport class. First place goes to Ryder D. Ryder D. Francisco takes first place. He had to work for that. He started at lap 1 and 2nd, fell back to 5th, managed to make some passes. As Gage Linville got 2nd place. Gavin Towers, 3rd place. Cole Martinez, 4th place. Patrick Murphy got 5th. Jaden Clow got 6th. Caden Barswell, 7th. My biggest shocker is I thought he would do a little bit better, and I'm sure coming out he'll be fired up the rest of the time. 8th place for Mike Alessi, and he was up to 4th at one point battling, and I'm really surprised I figured top 5 for sure for him, if not, up there battling for a win. So Taylon Hawkins is 9th. Heath Harrison rounds out your top 10. Say a lot of these names look familiar and kind of remember talking about. I believe both Gage Linville, Gavin Towers. At one point, I think they both either had a ride with Star or was trying out for Star. Jaden, I believe he came to Redbud for the Combine. Cole Martinez is fast. Michael Lessie's fast. And Heath Harrison, I believe all three are past racers at one point. And I'm wondering if because he was up, I don't know if he just fell off the pace that bad pushing, because the first, he led the first 4 laps and then dropped back to 10th. So I don't know if it was just tired or if bike issue or something. So it'll be interesting to see if he can push a little bit longer and stay up closer to the top 5 or podium. Jump into the other pro sport class, and it's 250 pro sport. We're looking at first place goes to Gavin Towers. He was able to hold off Ryder D. Francisco, who finishes 2nd. Ryder D. fastest lap of the race at a 1:54.702. Caden Braswell finishes 3rd. Chance Hymas finishes 4th. And that's Chance was in this class last year. I'm surprised he's not up there, and I don't know if it's just been starts or what. I mean, even in this race, he started off 3rd. He battled 3rd, got up into 2nd for a little bit, and then fell back. So I just don't know what's going on, if he's had an injury that he's battling or what. I just would have thought he was up there with Ryder D, Gavin, Jaden Clow got 5th. Gage Linville 6th. Brock Bennett got 7th. Taylon Hawkins 8th. Benjamin Garb, is I think how you say his last name, got 9th. That was kind of a shocker. That's not a name I recognized off top. Taylon Hawkins finished 8th. He started in 25th after lap 1, so he had his work cut out. And then Benjamin here was 16th, so those two kind of probably came through the pack together a little bit. Patrick Murphy finishes out the top 10 for the 250 Pro Sport. There's just so many good classes this year, looking B classes, both 450 and 250. The 125 Junior BC, Schoolboy 1, Schoolboy 2, Open Pro Sport, or 250 Pro Sport are all, really good classes for big bike classes that you're looking at. We'll get into some of the age group classes here. We'll start off with the college 18 to 24. They changed this to a sportsman, so I believe we have a few newer guys in this. Gage Stein finished 1st. Caden Palmer got 2nd. Daniel Bordelin got 3rd. Kimball Jett got 4th. Landon Armbuster 5th. Kyle Epperson 6th. J. Ryder Fox finishes 7th. Collar Martinez 8th. Eddie Nord finishes 9th. And Kyler Brabeck finishes out the top 10 in the college 18 to 24-year-old class. Jump over to the 25-plus class. We got a couple fast riders that are also in the Open Pro Sport. That was Cole Martinez, who won this first race. He was in the Open Pro Sport. 2nd place goes to Michael Lessie, who was led the first half of this race, and then Cole was finally able to get around him for first. Jacob Barmert finished third. Heath Harrison, who was in that pro sport class. I believe Jacob was in the pro sport class. Heath Harrison won the 25 plus last year, so he's the returning title. Oh, Luke Bollinger, I believe his name was in the pro sport. He finishes fifth. Jimmy Albertson finishes sixth. Brandon Haas finishes seventh. Dakota Kessler finishes eighth. Brock Peterson finishes ninth. And rounding out the top 10 is Bryce Klippel. That's the junior class. Moto 1 finishes top 10. That 30 plus, and I believe they kicked off day one, first race of the year this year. And the first place goes to Brandon Haas. Second place goes to Alex Warskub. Third place goes to Brock Peterson. Brock is the returning champ for this class. Kenny Henry finishes fourth. Matthew finishes fifth. Cade Wages finishes sixth. John Moeller finishes seventh. William Hall finishes eighth. Robbie McQuarrie finishes ninth. And Jeff Loop made his way from 20th up to 10th to round out the top 10 of the 30-plus class. Going into the 40-plus class, where we have a few guys that we know, past pros, like Mike Brown, who won Moto 1, and he was out over 40 seconds by the end of this race, pretty much. Chris Kiefer finishes second place. He just couldn't quite hang with him, which this is Brownie's track. So Hans Neal finishes third. Michael Mercer finishes fourth. John Grury from Michigan finishes fifth. Shane Keller finishes sixth. Barry Karsten finishes seventh. Ryan Tracy finishes eighth. Rob Floth finishes ninth. And Michael Stevens finishes out the top 10 for the 40-plus class. Definitely watch Chris. I know he's going to be wanting to really beat Brownie, so it'll be interesting to see Moto 2 how that goes. Can he do something to help, get out to an early lead and hold Brownie off, because Brownie just has this track down. We'll jump into the 45-plus class. First place goes to Jimmy Jarrett. Second place, Gregory Palmart. Third place goes to Dennis Dooley. Fourth place, Jeremy Tiffany. Fifth place, Gabriel Gordura out of Mexico finishes fifth. Jason Rich finishes sixth, and he came from all the way from 21st. Pretty impressive ride by him. Christopher McMillan finishes seventh. Chad finishes eighth. Tommy Boyd finishes ninth. And Jason Miskell finishes 10th. Going into the Masters class, 50-plus guys. We have Mike Brown, who takes the win. We have John Grury, again a Michigan boy, finishes second. Barry Karsten finishes third. Bill Fosnack finishes fourth. Kevin Walker finishes fifth. Todd finishes sixth. Frank Koning finishes seventh. Jeffrey Yetzner finishes eighth. Wayne Powers finishes ninth. And 10th place goes to Alan Horn. And biggest comeback of the race for the top 10 was Frank, who went from 17th to 7th. Kevin Walker had the early lead, fell back. And Brownie just kind of pulled away and finished with almost a 30-second lead by the end of the race. Next class on this list here is the the women's MX class. Vivian Contreras is first. She took it from lap 1 and managed to hang on to it the whole way. Taylor Allred got second. Sophie Phillips is third. Katie Benson is fourth. Corey Steedy is fifth. Jamie Ostadillo, sixth. Hannah Hodges is seventh. She had somewhere lap 3, looks like she went from second all the way back to seventh. I'm guessing she went down because that lap's 10 seconds longer than most of her other laps. So Brianna Sheltema from Michigan got 8th. Shelby Rollin is 9th. Kaylee Stallings wraps out your top 10 for your women's MX Moto 1. We'll stick with the girls and do the girls 11 to 16 Moto 1. Kaylee Stallings is first place. Lachelin, or Lala, I believe how she goes by. And it got second. She was leading most of the race and looks like got passed right towards the end. Madison Kismer got third. Lily Ann Pettis, fourth. Destiny Burgess, fifth. Mila Herrick, sixth. She worked up from a 15th place, so that's pretty impressive. Anissa got 7th. Mackenzie Brocato went from 16th to 8th. Sydney Mason finishes out 9th. Rounding out the top 10 is Caitlin Lane. That is your Moto 1 girls 11 to 16. Go to the Super Mini class. We'll start with Super Mini 2, 13 to 16. Running through the top 10 again. First place goes to Lem. I'm not even going to try to say his last name. Man, he's a fast kid. Pulled the start and pretty much led it all the way to the end. So, Jeremy Fappen finishes second. Tiger Wood finishes third. Landon Gordon finishes fourth. William Carnegie, I need to just stop pronouncing last names I don't know how to say, finishes fifth. Gavin Betts finishes sixth. Caden Johnson finishes seventh. William Campbell made it from 19th up to 8th place. Wyatt Bass finishes 9th. Nathan Abbott finishes out the top 10 of the Super Mini 2 class. Super Mini 1, 12 to 15. Jeremy takes first, again taking the lead early and finishing with the win. Super Mini 2 winner finishes second in this race. He had a 10th place after lap 1 and managed to work his way up to second. Tiger Wood finishes third. Landon Gordon, fourth. Gavin Betts, fifth. Will Campbell finishes sixth. Logan Mortberg finishes seventh. Nathan Abbott, eighth. Jaden Sorrells finishes 9th from 16th. And rounding out the top 10, Riley Bussey finishes 10th. Go into Mini Senior 13 to 15-year-olds. Heath Fisher takes first place all the way from over in Australia. Cade Johnson takes his second. Max Shane takes third. Nathan Hummel takes fourth. Chance Lawton from 13th up to 5th. Jesse Turner come from all the way back at 25th up to 6th. Cole Timbo finishes 7th. Kenyon Richards finishes 8th. Deacon Deno from 32nd all the way up to 9th. And Wyatt Harrington finishes out the top 10. Go to Mini Senior 1, 12 to 14. Caden Dundee is first. Seth Dennis is second. Heath Fisher is third. Deacon Deno, fourth. Cole Timbo, fifth. Cannon Hargrove, sixth. From a 15th. Deacon Deno was a 21st up to fourth. Seventh goes to Chance Lawton from 17th. 8th place goes to Cody Wells. Max Shane from 24th up to 9th. Braden Johnson from 19th to 10th. That rounds out your top 10. Both, I guess, in the Super Mini and in the Mini Senior, top 10 are pretty similar. Just a couple names interchanged there. And then kind of just mix them up a little bit. So, been good racing in those classes. Going to the 85, 10 to 12-year-old. Carson Wood gets the first place finish. Seth Dennis gets the second place. Kay Dundee goes from 16th to 3rd. Darren Pine finishes 4th. Cole finishes 5th. Brennan Harrison from 24th up to 6th. Jonathan Getz finishes 7th. Jace Wolf from 20th to 8th place. Vincent Way finishes out 9th. He had a late Moto crash, I'm pretty sure, if I remember right from watching that race. Brandon Eden and finished out the top 10 of the 85 10 to 12-year-old. Now we'll do the 85 10 to 12-year-old limited class. Landon Gibson takes first place. Carson Wood finishes second. Vincent Wang rebounded in this class and finishes 3rd. Cole finishes 4th. Jace Wolf finishes 5th. Jonathan Getz 6th. From a 17th up to 6th, that's pretty good. Brennan Harrison and finishes 7th. Christopher Harris finishes 8th. Ryder Ellis finishes 9th. And rounding out the top 10, Zach Martin. Now we'll drop into the 65 class, starting off with 65, 10 to 11-year-old class. Moto 1, first place finisher, Maddox Turman. From 9th to 1st, Elliot Boscher finishes 2nd. Timothy Scott finishes 3rd. Nolan Ford finishes 4th. Easton Graves is 5th. Braxton Mess is 6th. Brody Moss from 16th up to 7th. Chase Dashill from 10th to 8th, where he finished. Cooper Johnson managed to work his way up from 17th to 9th. And kid that probably made the most passes on the track out of anyone would be Tace Morgan. Went from 40th all the way up to 10th place. That's pretty impressive to go from 40th on lap 1 all the way up to 10th place. He must have been cruising out there. First place of the 65, 10 to 11 limited class, we got Elliot Boscher. Brody Moss finishes 2nd, and he even set the fastest lap. Maddox Temerin is 3rd. Chase Dashill finishes 4th. Nolan Ford finishes 5th. Marcus finishes 6th. Travis finishes 7th. Easton Graves from 19th up to 8th. Braxton Mess from 16th to 9th. And Cole Martin and from 10th to 10th. He kind of battled a little bit back and forth with 11th place. So, That rounds out 65 10 to 11-year-old limited. And we'll go to the 7 to 9-year-old 65 class. Sawyer finishes first. Alex finishes second. Chase Brennan finishes third. Caden Nightingale finishes fourth. Joseph finishes fifth. Anderson finishes sixth. Keiki finishes seventh, made his way up from 16th to 7th. Eli Herrick finishes 8th. Carter Gray finishes 9th. And Braxton Baldock finishes out the top 10. So, moving on to the 65 7 to 9 limited class. Sawyer managed to win this class. Alex is in second in this class as well. Eden for third. Jaden fourth. Keiki fifth. Joseph sixth. Chance seventh. Austin Keller from 16th up to 8th. Aiden McKitty from 17th up to 9th. And Carter Gray to finish out the top 10 for the 65 7 to 9 limited class. We'll jump into the 50 classes, starting off with that Micro E class, 4 to 7-year-olds. Cooper Langdon finishes first. Parker Beckington finishes second. Nathan Tucker finishes third. Levi Brace manages to get fourth. Kaysen Taylor fifth. Levi Letty worked up from 18th to 6th. Crew finishes 7th. Absher finishes 8th from 15th. Tate gets 9th. And Ryan finishes out the top 10. And Gage out of Michigan, just outside the top 10 with an 11th. I'll throw that one in there for the little guy. Micro 1 is the 4 to 6 shaft drive class. These are going to be all P-dubs for the most part. I don't think there's any other brand that makes a bike that will work in this class really well. I take that back. They probably make a bike that works in the class, but just no one uses it. P-dubs is the main bike. So starting off, first place goes to Levi Meyer. Managed to have first after lap 1 and hold the rest of the race. Boone Lloyd finishes second. S.J. Jones finishes third. Taylon Robertson finishes fourth. Caverick Stewart finishes fifth. Trevor Camps finishes sixth. Mitchell Hall finishes seventh. Anthony Lozano finishes eighth. Bodie ninth. And Cooper McKenzie finishes out the top 10 for this Micro 1 class. Micro 2 is the 4 to 6 limited. Looks like the main bike for this class is your Cobras. Starting off, first place goes to Jet. Tate Brush takes second. Taylon Rogers worked his way up from 11th for third. Jack finishes fourth. Shannon Tarnow, fifth. Huxley Nolan, sixth. Jarrett Titchener, seventh. Justice Pearson, eighth. Sawyer Marsher, ninth. Jace Elliott rounds out the top 10 for this class. Elliott worked from a 16th. Marsher worked from 15th to get up to 9th. Jarrett managed to work his way from 30th all the way up to 7th in this class. That's pretty impressive for the little guy. I believe we got one more micro class here, and I think this will be all the Moto 1s. Last one, Micro 3, this is a 7 to 8 limited. First place goes to Cannon. Jaden Smart gets second. Anderson Waldo is third. Gavin McCoy, fourth. Gavin Wellsden managed to work his way from 12th up to 5th. Deegan, 6th. Jacob Mariner, 7th. Micah Nix is 8th from a 16th. Pretty impressive. Carter Pilgrim from 23rd to 9th. And Maverick, I think it finishes out your top 10 for the Micro 3 7 to 8-year-old class. And these guys are probably actually, I don't know if they race today or not. I would have to look at the schedule to see. They might have had today off. So, I'm going to guess so. Last race was Open Pro Sport that I see. That's been going on. Unless they're still out there racing right now. So, well, that wraps up all the classes. Moto 1 finishes. Definitely got some kids to watch out for. See if Hayden Deegan can keep the bad luck away in the schoolboy class. Let's see if he can screw up anyone's 250B championship. Evan Ferry, if he can clean up a little bit. If all your Moto 1 winners can hang on and win and sweep out their classes. Can Michael Lessie or Cole Martinez come into the pro sport class and screw it up for any of the young kids that are trying to go pro next? The 85 and super mini classes, you got a strong top 10 by the looks of those, where most of those kids finish pretty interchangeable. 250Cs and 450C classes, you got all first year typically. It means you've never been to the ranch, so watch for crazy things that happen in those classes. Your age group classes, you got in the 40 plus, Mike Brown versus Chris Kiefer, big battle there to kind of watch out for. There's some returning champs in those age group classes as well that want to do well. So racing has just pretty much started. We got a couple Moto 2s in today, but I'll cover those tomorrow when we hit through day 3 of racing tomorrow. Day 4 total of riding the track because Monday was practice. And so we'll try to cover through Moto 2. I think it will be just a couple short. So I might do a little special one on the following day and then skip a day in between there to let Moto 3 finishes up and start talking about who crowning champs and stuff like that. Hopefully you enjoyed this. It's just a quick little recap preview. Thanks Racertv for letting me borrow some of their content that they have from the races and kind of chop up and throw in the videos. So thank you to them. Definitely, I'm sure if you're watching this, you know that there's you can watch live on RacerX. Thanks, right on YouTube, the Racertv stuff. So check out live timing. And let me know if there's anything else content-wise you wish to see. I'm not there at the races, so I can't, unfortunately, record my own stuff. But if there's interviews you want to hear from some of the riders or something like that, maybe put them in contact with me, and maybe I can try to do a Skype interview or maybe start setting it up after Loretta's to get people's opinions on and how their Loretta's went and hear from them and stuff like that. So we definitely want to help promote our amateurs as much as we enjoy watching the pros and stuff like that. But, the real grassroots come from these amateur riders that are cutting their teeth at Loretta's and trying to, get noticed. So we would gladly be willing to help anyone do an interview or something like that. So feel free to reach out to us. You can hit us up, amateurlife2.0@gmail is our email. Apparently someone had the regular Amateur Life already taken. We're also on social media, Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, TikTok, I believe we're even on, and mainly just little videos that I posted. I kind of converted my personal TikTok over, so probably won't really see too much content on there. But also amateurlife.co is our website. Hoping to start putting more content out on that as well. You can also check us out on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or I'm sure we're on several other platforms that you can find podcast at. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and peace out till next time.